Now, you probably are familiar with the concept of a gap year. Gap years are pretty awesome. They're pretty cool, where you take a year typically between school and going to college. But do you get to do that later on in life when you're already settled in your career and you're married? Now,
Do you have kids?
well, here's the email that I got where there is a husband that wants to take a gap year. And the email says, so I guess I get a front seat to see what a midlife crisis looks like. My husband just quit his job as an attorney, saying he just couldn't keep doing the grind. He said he's burnt out and the job is soul sucking. He said that he's not even close to the same person now that made that career choice many years ago. He's made great money, but he says he's completely unfulfilled. Money no longer matters. He says one day he wants to work for nonprofits and have a real purpose in his work. Part of me thinks this has something to do with the medical marijuana he started smoking 2 years ago.
Does he listen to that Bruno Mars song?
The lazy song. But now I feel like I am the one who needs a joint and I'm freaking out. My husband has always been the breadwinner, and his career desires would require us to radically change our lifestyle. We don't have any kids, which I guess is a good thing, but I feel if we had them, then he wouldn't want to take off and travel for a year. Look, I like to travel, but only for a few weeks at a time. He wants to be gone for a year. Plus, he doesn't want to go anywhere cool. He's talking about going to rural Africa to build a school. I want to be a supporting wife, but I don't know how to deal with the man I am now married to. Is anybody else ever gone through this, and did your marriage survive? How should I handle this?
You guys need to get to therapy really bad. You need to go talk to an expert and have them help you and guide you through this because he's changing, you're not. And so he needs to own that he is pulling the rug out from underneath your marriage. And an expert needs to explain to him how this is going to play out.
My question is, because Oprah even said this last week, we played the clip, and I thought it was an interesting one, and it stuck with me. She said, you do your job so you can afford your purpose.
Yeah, I wouldn't quit until I had everything lined up for your passion, what you want to do. Because I do agree we should never be in anything that our heart and spirit ain't fulfilled with. I mean, if you're living that kind of life, you got to make an adjustment. But we don't also not make a salary.
Well, when you're married, too, you're now a team and you make these kind of decisions together. Mm-hmm. You don't just, as the breadwinner, decide one day there's no more bread.
Right.
That's a cruel and unusual punishment to do to your spouse that probably stuck with you through law school and helped you in the beginning of your law career. And now that you're established, you want to throw it all away.
But there are people out there listening right now going, I am not following my life's purpose. There's something missing in my spirit, and I'm just doing what the grind or what the system's telling me to do. I'm not happy. I'm not fulfilled. So what do you do if you're in that situation? Do you go to the urn, very unhappy, or do you make an adjustment, but do you make a smart adjustment?
You got to talk about all these adjustments. You don't just make them as a solo guy.
Yeah, I think that is the one thing he needs to do. I'm all for what he wants to do. He doesn't want to keep going through it. Now, for her, she doesn't have the same feelings about his job. All she does is reap the benefits of the paychecks that come in that she seems to like, and she doesn't want to adjust their standard of living because she's enjoying it. But he says it's soul-sucking to him. So he does need to make that change. So I think there's got to be a lot of radical compromise that happens in this marriage for it to survive and to do well.
And they need a professional to help them navigate all this. So it's not a battle between them, so that they can actually have an impartial expert guiding them and helping them make the right decisions that don't hurt their marriage further.
Because if you're taking a gap year and you don't have the money to take a gap year, you're going to be working at the Gap pretty soon.
You work at the Gap.
Yes, at the
folding
Gap.
T-shirts.
This almost feels like they need to sit down with a financial planner as well to look at their finances and say, okay, here's how much money you have, here are your assets, and here's the kind of jobs that you could do to sustain and do a reevaluation of their standard of living.
They need a lot of professionals. I agree with you. Financial planner, therapist. She also may be having to re-enter the workforce. How old is she? How old is he? Like, there's a lot of things at play here.
And I mean, we don't know all the details of their situation. What if, deep down, she's horrible to deal with, or deep down, he's horrible to deal with?
Then that needs to be discussed in therapy with an impartial expert.
Because that's sometimes why people stop having passion, too, because they're with somebody that's sucking the life out of them. And they don't even realize they're going through life in automatic mode.
Yeah.
Totally.
You want to know if anybody else has gone through this? I'm sure they have. Anybody have any advice on how they navigated through something like this, where halfway through your life and your marriage, he all of a sudden says, I don't like my career that makes me a lot of money, and I want to do something that gives me purpose, and I want to give back. How do you navigate that?
Oh, it's easy. It's divorce.
Okay. Might be. I did see, too, that 10% of men go through that midlife crisis. It's not all men. It's only 10%. But that 10%, I imagine some of those changes might be radical.
I think the male version of it for females is menopause. But yeah, men go through midlife crisis. Women, a lot of us go through menopause, and it does change your personality.
Yeah.
It changes your perspective. It changes what you want out of life. And that's why you need help and you need guidance.
Well, you're at the all-star break, kind of. You've been to the puppet show. You've seen the strings. But you also can see on the other side of the fence, life's getting shorter.
Right.
You want to be happy.
And you don't want to be someone who looks back 10 years from now and goes, oh my gosh, I blew this whole thing up. I made a mistake.
Yep.
Because that has happened. I've seen people that have done that now regret divorce. They regret their life changes. They regret the things they did while they were struggling with hormonal imbalance.
Any thoughts or feedback on how she can deal with this? You've gone through it yourself. Let us know. 877-979-WRMF, 877-979-9763. Now, other people have gone through it. One person said, I was in corporate America for 20 plus years and I left to do landscaping. Now I'm 50 and I'm happier than I've ever been because plants don't talk back.
Yeah. And a happier mate's a happier life.
But you had a plan, and you probably worked on that plan for quite a while. It wasn't just I quit and I'm going to Africa. So it's something that you have to do as a partner with your spouse and make a plan and then put it into action. Like, it's not an overnight decision.
Yep, exactly. Somebody else texted in who has kind of gone through it, and they said, I went through it and I took a $60,000 pay cut. And my husband was 100% supportive. And I'm very happy. He's very happy. And I think that she's just being selfish here, and she needs to recognize that. She should support her husband. She's just like the easy living and has enjoyed that lifestyle. Not everything in life is easy.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that she should try to help him navigate all this. But if she helped him in the beginning of his law career and now he's pulling the rug out from under her at the end, that's not fair either.
How do you know she helped him, though?
I don't, but I can tell you that law school ain't cheap. Somebody had to pay for all that on the front end.
But how do you know she did it?
Well, if she was his wife back then, she probably worked while he was in school. If they were together back then.
That's quite a...
Virginia's already filled in all
That's
the blanks.
quite a whole different scenario you painted. Like, what are you talking about?
Well, you never know. If you support, if somebody's...
You don't know, but it's not like fact.
You never know. I mean, you never know. He also could have,
Well, I'm
won
not
the
going to
lottery.
villainize her for liking her lifestyle if that's what you're looking for me to do.
No, but I think you do got to support your mate. If I was married and I knew my partner was so miserable and they wanted to make a change, we're going to figure out how we can do that and be happy.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but he's not doing that. He's just ready to pack it up and go to Africa and already quit his legal job.
Yeah.
That's not fair to the partner in your marriage that you
Mm-hmm.
vowed
Yeah.
to be with.
I think he needs to pump the brakes. He needs to slide out of what he's doing. They need to get their finances in order and something that makes her breathe easy. He needs to do something that is true to what he wants to do. I think he's entitled to that. But as you had said, I think some conversations need to happen, and you just need to get on the same page somehow.
This is how we do. It's the KBJ Show.